Time for the first senior Rotax heats of the weekend. It's Heat 1, Groups B versus C. Here's your starting grid. Karting will start from pole position. Alongside will be Devian Rost in the 345. Row 2, Benjamin Van Hees and Felipe Falk. Row 3 is Ruben Verheyen and Dylan Hummel, with Scott Westhovens and Vic Stevens on row 4. Row 5, completing the top 10, Jori Schoens and Olivier Jonkers. Robbie Stoder and Mika van der Pavert on row 6, with Gaz Tobin and Julian Klosman rounding out row 7. Fast Freddie Ingram, the only Brit in the paddock this weekend, starts on the inside of row 8. He'll be joined by Half van der Pavert. Sebastian Koch joined by Hungary's Armand Hamilton on row 9, with Tommy van der Stroys and Luca Prima completing the top 20. Park Govels and Gaz Boshouse on row 11, ahead of Max Costa and Kevin Navis. Sven Slagmoller and Dominic Shapers rounding out the top 13 rows. Completing the 32-strong grid will be Colombia's Martin Herrera, Belgium's Sverre Ubben, from the Netherlands, Giorgio Markenstein and Magnus Richt, with Lex Quintens starting 31st. I think Nathan Marichal might be a non-starter, but that is your grid for Heat 1, B versus C for senior Rotax. So, prepare yourself for the roller coaster ride, I always tend to do, because it's going to be 3 7-minute heats plus an additional lap for senior Rotax. The format for this race day is as follows. After the 3 heats, of which each of the 47 drivers will be competing in, they'll take part in 2. Based on their scores, that will then give us the top 30 for the final. After that, then the top 6 out of the remaining 17 drivers will fight it out in the second chance to get themselves into the top 36 final, which takes place at 5:35. For those wondering about the timetable for today's racing, you can see it in the description along with the live timing and also the results. Okay, field starting to get into the formation. Are we going to have the lights out? It is a full start. Quite a few stragglers, so another tour of the circuit is in order. So if you are watching on the live stream, please feel free to show your support for who you are cheering on. If you are not able to join us here at the circuit at Mariembourg, of course, you do need to subscribe to the channel and wait for the 10 minutes to elapse before you can send in your comments. So it's time to calm the nerves a little bit. Time to get yourselves ready once again, seniors. Of course, there's always that one race that not necessarily sets off a precedent, but what it does is that it means that everyone's on tenterhooks. Everyone's under pressure. Everyone wants to go for the win. And, well, there we go. Astrid, good to hear from you. I know who you're cheering on. He's not racing yet. He'll be out in Heat 2. But let's see if we can get things underway. Second time of asking. Red lights are on the gantry. Into the tram lines. Revs rise. Lights are on. Lights are out. Second time of asking. And into turn 1 they go. Devian Ross was looking around the outside of Knoren into turn 1, but the 3-1-2. Oh, multi-cart incident through turn 2. There are at least 6. Oh, dearie me. A big incident. 309 involved, 338 involved. Mike Maastricht and Nathan Marichal. Oh dear. 2 possible early casualties. And, well, there has been a change. Felipe Falk for the TB Kart Netherlands squad now has gotten through on Devian Ross for second position. Devian Ross running with the Kart Store Racing team based out of the Netherlands, actually not too far north of Rotterdam. Had an opportunity, thank you to Patrick Dirks, to visit the facility back last month. As, well, 2 places lost on the fly by Felipe Falk, courtesy of Devian Ross, and also Vic Stevens, who's looking up the inside of the 345. Falk tries to look for the crossover. as he's got the inside of Benjamin Van Hees up the inside, and now they're starting to really get their elbows out, and they are sharpened like razor blades right now. Freddie Ingram has also made up a few places. He's up to 8th place from 15th on the grid. So 5.5 minutes still to go, plus an additional lap. And now, Krit Knoren has a lead. And it's more than half a second by the way things look at the moment. So across the line to complete lap 2. Krit Knoren leads the way. Second is Vic Stevens. Gap is just over 0.3 of a second. And new fastest lap by Vic Stevens. Freddie Ingram now 5th and is chasing down Benjamin Van Hees. Well, and now Felipe Falk has become the proverbial cork in the bottle because he's got Scott Westhoven's right behind him. Oh, bit of a bump. Sven Slagmøller coming out of turn number 3. The back axle was up in the air after the right rear tyre ended up going into the slight divot before the exit curbing. There's Tommy van der Stroys. Sebastian Koch not too far behind either, so is Armand Hamilton. Kaz Boshouse has made up places. Martin Herrera, the driver with the most positions gained at the moment, the Colombian, hailing from the same nation as Tatiana Calderon and Juan Pablo Montoya. Dive bomb up the inside through turn 2 by Devian Rost on Krit Knoren. Vic Stevens now has the race lead. As we have, yellow flags. That is an SR Solutions kart. That is Joris Schoens. Joris Schoens in the 365 is out of the race at turn number 3. Nathan Marichal is out of the race himself. There's Freddie Ingram. Oh, right, now this is going to give an opportunity to the 396 from KR Sport. It's got Benjamin Van Hees and looks to be Krit Knoren just up ahead because Devian Ross is now closing in on Vic Stevens for the race lead. Half time now hit. 3.5 minutes to go, plus an additional lap of this first of 3 heats for seniors. Leading the way, it's Vic Stevens. Devian Rost rounds out the top 2. Benjamin Van Hees, and there goes Freddie Ingram up the inside of Krit Knoren. That's 4th place for the 396. Great job there by Fast Freddie. Got the job done very, very quickly indeed, and made sure it counted. Just behind, Ruben Verheyen is also rounding out the top 6. Tommy van der Stroys has made up 12 places so far. He's now P7. There he is in the Kraft Motorsport colours. Father Martin is also in attendance. Top 10 rounded out by Hungary's Armand Hamilton. Sebastian Koch rounds out the top 9. So 2.5 minutes to go. These laps have been literally flying by at the moment with 2 minutes and 25 seconds still to go. Now, Devian Rost, how close is he? Just over 10.5. There's a change, and that's for 3rd. Freddie Ingram through on Benjamin Van Hees at turn 1. Sent it like you meant it there, Fast Freddie. Well done. Well done, fella. So this now will bring in we've got Marshall Post 12 showing a yellow flag, so someone's gone off there towards the far part of the circuit as there's battling going into Chemin de Fer behind Freddie Ingram. So Benjamin Van Hees has got Krit Knoren and Ruben Verheyen just behind, so Verheyen was bouncing all over the curbs coming out of Chemin de Fer. So we will have 3 laps to go. Vic Stevens has moved up from 8th place and is currently leading, but for how much longer? Well, and we've got a yellow coming onto the start-finish straight. Dylan Hummel, I think that might be. That might be the case. So Joris Schoens out, Nathan Marichal out. And Dylan Hummel, the next of the casualties. So that brings us down to 29 runners and riders. Vic Stevens has a lead of just over 0.3 of a second in front of Devian Rost. There's opportunity here. That was the 3:42. Armand Hamilton through on Sebastian Koch in the 394. Sebastian has dual heritage. So does Armand. Armand, Australia and Hungary. Sebastian, Belgium and Germany. Oh, come to think it, you've got one bloke in the commentary box who's also a dual national, England and Germany. But we go on to our penultimate lap of this first heat out of 3. Vic Stevens leads the way by just under 0.4 of a second ahead of Devian Rost. Freddie Ingram rounds out the top 3. Benjamin Van Hees, Krik Knoren, Ruben Verheyen, Tommy van der Stroys, Armand Hamilton, Sebastian Koch and Felipe Falk. Also another dual national. Felipe is a Brazilian first name. So Felipe running with the Brazilian colours, the Brazilian flag on his TB kart, rounds out the top 10. So timer has expired as we make our way through the final few corners before the last lap board gets shown. And it is Vic Stevens that leads the way. We will hit 9 laps in total. And look over the right shoulder as we go on to the final lap of this opening heat. Stevens leads by just under 5.5 of a second ahead of first. Ingram. And, well, Dominic Scheppers and Martin Herrera have fallen by the wayside. There has been a change a little bit further back. That was the battle for 5th place. So I think maybe Ruben Verheyen might have just lost out. But there are the race leaders coming through Chemin de Fer for the final time. But it is going to come to the checkered flag on this particular occasion, because out of the final right-hander, now powering over the crest through the chicane and onto the start-finish straight, it's Bouvin Powers, Vic Stevens that wins the opening senior road tax heat of the day. Head of Kart Store Benelux Racing Teams, Devian Ross. Freddie Ingram, 12 places gained to finish P3. That's a good start to the weekend, even with the dismal qualifying. Benjamin Van Hees and Krik Knoren round out the top 5. Ruben Verheyen, Tommy van der Stroys and Armand Hamilton round out the top 8. Head of Sebastian Koch, Felipe Falk rounds out the top 10 with Casbos House, Mika van der Pavert. Julian Klausmann, Sverre Ubben made up 14 places. So is the biggest gainer in this race from 28th on the grid. Luca Prima started 20th, finished 15th. Ahead of Puck Gubbles, Giorgio Merkenstein, Sven Slagmoller, Robbie Stoddard and Ralph van der Pavert, Kevin Navis, Ollie Jonkers, Scott Westhovens, Kaz Tobin, Max Costa, Lex Quintens and Mike Maastricht round out the 27 finishers. Dominic Scheppers and Martin Herrera out on lap 6. Dylan Hummel lap 4, Jori Schoens lap 2 and Nathan Marischal unfortunately out after that multi-cart incident on the opening lap at turn 2. Up next, it's the heat for Junior Max.